All right, well, this is Astral, and at its core, like we've been talking about this whole time, it's all about remixing content from your hero piece of content into a bunch of different formats. And so we have a few different ways to do that. You can add content to your library as a source, and then you can take a source or multiple sources and remix those. You can even, again, like I mentioned, if you've got really big libraries, you can search for material across your whole library that you can then remix into something new. We also let you just remix individual links or audio. YouTube we just added yesterday, so now you can take a YouTube video and remix it. You can also upload PDFs and audio. With audio, it's super cool. We automatically transcribe everything.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the AI Marketing Navigator. This is your daily compass in the ever-evolving world of AI marketing. Okay, Navigators, today we have part 2 of our interview with Jack Bogdan, the CEO and co-founder of Astral, one of my new favorite AI tools and probably the most powerful one as far as content repurposing and content creation goes in my toolbox. And just like yesterday, Jack has a bunch of insights today, particularly around AI and content generation. And he is going to give us the expert guided tour of the Astral platform and show us some of the new features that they have added in the past week or so since we covered it the first time. So I am super excited to bring you part 2 of my interview with Jack. Get a little bit more into the AI side of things, and then I want to also give you some time to show us your favorite parts of Astral so everybody can get a well-guided tour of the tool. We had a great tour of the tool on my first little dive into it, but I'm so excited to share what I've done in it so far as uploading content into the library and being able to repurpose it. And I'm super excited to share what you have to say and show us about the tool. But before that, just again to kind of talk about more AI content creation, especially given your expertise and your time in the content creation space. You talked about people fearing AI in your day-to-day lives. Let's dive a little bit more into that. What has been your experience with people's most negative sentiments about AI? What's the biggest objection you have and you deal with when you're pitching Astral or when you're talking about Astral to people?
I mean, I think there's a general unease because it's all so new. And not everybody has hands-on experience, and when you do, with something like a ChatGPT or Claude, like your understanding of what these things are is, kind of surface level. But then everybody in the world is saying that it's coming for your job, and that the sky is falling, and you should be really worried. And again, like going back to the reason why we built Astral in the first place is that we saw an existential risk for people. But if you are coming at it from the perspective of building a tool to empower those very people to better serve their audiences and to scale the opportunity of what they're able to do without sacrificing that kind of internal creativity, it's a focus on the change in the outcome that you have by publishing this new format or this new way of engaging with the material, right? We're not starting from nothing. We don't just wholesale invent words and then you repurpose those words. We start from your library, right? It is you on camera. It is you talking. It is your writing. It is your perspective. Because look, the reality is everything on every topic has already been said by somebody out there, right? But people come to you because of your conviction, your approach, the way that you process it, the way you think about it. That's for individuals, that's for brands. People connect around what you stand for and the way that you communicate and the way you think about a problem, right? Just because somebody else has said something that has the same, let's say, belief that you have, you could be the right communicator for that belief to your audience. So focus on you and your brand and what you do. When I say brand, you as a person if you're an independent creator, and then you as a brand if you're more of a business. And then think about, and this is where it's been really fun for our customers. It's like we have folks that are, let's say, again, going back to the skyscraper approach of how do I add more value for my audience, right? You're not trying to invent new ideas per se, because there are things you believe in. there are things you communicate regularly, and it's about making that information more accessible and digestible in the kinds of formats and elements that people may not engage with in one way, but then do in another. And so the creativity comes from the strategic application of your ideas, right? It's how do you take this one concrete format, let's say a video. If it's an hour-long video, people have to watch the whole thing, or they jump around and they have to find what they're looking for, which is exactly why you should translate it into maybe somebody wants to read a long-form article, maybe somebody wants to get the roundup, maybe somebody wants the downloadable worksheet, or the mini guide, or the checklist, or some other means of engaging with that information. And if you, as the person producing that key idea and putting it together, are able to produce all of those things in a click, and then spend minimal time doing your copy edits to say, okay, well, I want to tweak this, or maybe you have more at bats of ways to connect with your audience and ways to package that information that could be really compelling. And frankly, you don't have the time to do it otherwise, right? And that's the key. Is it's like, experiment. It's like go in there. It's two things, I should say. It's do the things that you already have to do that you hate every time you put something out, and get to 90% on that faster, baseline. But once you've done that, guess what? That 90% of time that you've just freed up, you now can explore what are the other kinds of things, what could be useful to my audience, right? What does that look like? And that's what people are doing. They're going back to their back catalogs. They're building out, new course modules, right? And like little mini guides and packaging key piece of information. They're building these key summaries and ideas of ways to cheat sheets to pair with their content. It's just new ways for people to connect around those ideas. And the really cool thing with Astral is, I'll show you, we just launched our template gallery today, which is super exciting.
I've already dug around a little bit in it. I can't wait for you to show us more. It looks amazing.
Cool. Awesome. Well, so there's like out of the box options where we've gone through and we've, translated, popular frameworks into templates that you can apply. So if you don't know where to start, you can start from there. But if you do have a format that you've been doing manually and it's taking you a lot of freaking time and, it's taking a lot of effort, Astral can also create reusable templates from that, which is a huge time saver because, one, you might not want one of ours. Like some people like to communicate in certain ways of organizing information. Our template might not be something that your audience wants, but if you know that there is something that your audience resonates with, amazing. Really simple to go in and set that up, and then again get to that 90% so that you can publish faster and then open up that dialogue. You can test new ideas and get them out to your audience and just ask, like, is this useful? Is this something that you want to see more of or not? That is so powerful to not have to commit to like an expensive, time consuming, potentially like wrong bet. Like this, like there's so much fear of failure and having a finite amount of time and resources, and you miss out on a lot of opportunities. And so if you can just try something new, and if your audience really resonates with it, and you realize that suddenly you can just add that to the list of checkboxes you check, every time you publish something new, that's right. Super powerful. Super powerful.
And when we talk about resistance to some AI adoption and how much this is an enhancer of creative ability and it allows you to do the things you love to do on the channels that you're comfortable in. I talk a lot about the aha moments that people have with AI where it finally kind of clicks for them. I think there's a lot of potential for those aha moments in Astral, especially for someone who has created content for a long time, like you said, has this 90% of it down, and when they can replace that, I think that's very much an aha moment. For sure. Something you've mentioned a couple times that I want to dive into a little bit deeper for some of the navigators listening to the show. Skyscraper technique on content creation. I have some familiarity, but I kind of want to get into how you think Astral enhances someone's ability to practice the skyscraper technique, or how it makes it easier, how it's an effective tool for the skyscraper technique.
Totally. Well, thinking about the skyscraper, it's that you have this kind of like hero offering. It's the recurring subscription, or it's this, big course offering, or whatever it is. It's this piece of value, distilled piece of value. And there's likely one kind of major part of it, right? It's the thing. It's likely the most authentic thing you do, right? It's the regular writing, it's the regular podcasting, it's the regular video, it's whatever that is. The skyscraper technique is this concept that you just continue to add value to that core offering, and you ultimately make the offering massively valuable because you've added all of this ancillary supportive material to this key hero offering. So it's not that you're necessarily launching new products, it's that you are enriching the product offering that you have to make it invaluable to your audience and continuing to add that value. Astral's like a bullseye for that, because again, it's literally exploring all the different ways your audience would want to engage with that core material, helping you easily package it, and then you publish it wherever you currently offer your key product. So it's really straightforward. It makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely. So Jack, something we talked about recently on the show is this feeling of being underwater, or feeling so much pressure to create content, and the content demands on a content creator being so high, and you throw AI into the mix and trying to stay on top of all the tools and all the best practices with publishing and getting your content out there is almost like trying to drink from a fire hose, is the phrase that I use on the show a lot. What's your advice for building a content strategy? And I can already, my brain's already worrying on how much Astral helps with this. Again, just another problem that we deal with as content creators that Astral helps with. Building a sustainable content strategy that doesn't leave you feeling underwater, that involves AI and doesn't sacrifice your authenticity. And I know that some of the tools that you're going to show us in Astral will show us exactly how to do that. But what would you give us as for advice on the AI Marketing Navigator here for staying sustainable and not burning yourself out with content creation?
I think first and foremost is to just be honest with yourself if you're feeling underwater, right? And to have like the ability to step back or have a conversation with a close friend and just kind of like get it all out there, right? Talk about how you're feeling, because it is tough being the face of the thing. And if you're not consistently producing, that you feel like you're behind and it feels like the world's against you, etc. Ultimately, this is all in service of providing some rich value for a group of people, right? And so if you are able and lucky enough to find an audience of people who trust you and who again, you are that arbiter of information, they'll cut you some slack. Now, of course, like, if you don't publish like every second or do something of it, being on the hamster wheel,
Sure. Mm-hmm.
If you focus on the elements of the production pipeline that really bring you joy and happiness, or finding that balance of here's what I love, here's the part of this I love, and here's the pipeline that I have to get the right topics, to understand what my audience is interested in, and then get myself into a position to put out that piece of content that I just love to produce it, and I don't feel like it's too heavy, right? I don't feel the burden of it.
Yep.
You can focus on that and really get into a rhythm around it. Then you can start to explore the other avenues people might want to connect with you, right? Think about it. If you're a video creator, then maybe people are not necessarily in for watching the whole thing. Maybe they want the roundup in the newsletter. Maybe they want the blog. Maybe they want the cheat sheet. Maybe they want maybe because of what you talk about, there's actually like a hunger for worksheets or like analysis or more materials that people download around. I mean, it depends on what you talk about, what you get into, but that's where Astral really comes in, because it lets you experiment, right? You can just start testing. And so like if you are, past the initial threshold of, I know who I am, I know why I'm a good communicator for this, because this is what activates me as a person. If you found that, you're way past more than half the battle, right? Because you can at least get the motivation to wake up and do that as the core deliverable. And then it's finding the tools that help you do the things you don't want to do, right? So much of the like rote work in our day to days where we're just trying to like move data from one thing to another thing, right? Or like push widgets, like that doesn't bring people a lot of joy.
Right.
But people feel like they have to do it. And so you find the tools that fill that gap for you, right? Around the things, because, like there might be something Astral can generate that you actually find a lot of joy in producing yourself.
Sure.
You probably shouldn't do it with Astral if you actually find a lot of joy in it, because that's part of what makes it all authentic. And maybe that becomes another one of your hero pieces of content that you can then build from. So anyway, I hope that answered the question.
Oh, absolutely. I love that so much. First of all, I couldn't agree more that Astral hits the target right dead center with this need and this feeling as well, because like you said, you find that hero piece of content, and we'll just call it work in this case, that you want to get up and do every day, and Astral has the rest of the bases covered. And thank you so much for talking about anxiety and feeling underwater with content creation, something I'm sure you're very familiar with. I have picked your brain for quite some time now, so maybe we could dive in and check out the tool a little bit with you at the helm.
All right, well, this is Astral, and at its core, like we've been talking about this whole time, it's all about remixing content from your hero piece of content into a bunch of different formats. And so we have a few different ways to do that. You can add content to your library as a source, and then you can take a source or multiple sources and remix those. You can even, again, like I mentioned, if you've got really big libraries, you can search for material across your whole library that you can then remix into something new. We also let you just remix individual links or audio. YouTube we just added yesterday, so now you can take a YouTube video and remix it. You can also upload PDFs and audio. With audio, it's super cool. We automatically transcribe everything. So you get a really high quality transcription, and that's what we use for the remix. And then you can also just paste content directly in and remix it. I'm actually gonna do the YouTube route because you're a YouTuber, and so I feel like this is fun. So I grabbed a video. This is your AI memory personalization paradise or marketing mess, and then this screen of what you want to choose to remix. This is what you would see no matter what you picked as your input material. So this is a series of templates that I've added to my account. I'll show you the template gallery that we mentioned earlier after this. We can just add even more, but just to give you a sense of what it would take once you've set up all the templates that you're really interested in producing regularly, you could literally check this box and click generate, and it would go ahead and produce, I think there's 12 things in here. I don't want to kick that off because I don't want to wait around for a minute and have all those things generated. I've generated a few already for us, but that's what I'm talking about when I talk about making it easier. Is you can set up those templates for, I want my social post breakdowns covered, I want my, let's say, YouTube descriptions, I want my ebook lead magnet to pair with this, and then you can test other stuff, like I want to pair a checklist with this, I want to pull out some key quotes that I might want to use elsewhere, I want to turn this into a blog, etc. So things can get really really exciting for folks when you literally can just check boxes, and then again you're copy editing at that point. One of the things that we've added that has been really exciting as well as brand voice. So not only do you have your content library where you've got the different sources in your library and you can sync different publications, but then you can also manage different brand voice. And so if I click an example here, we can, if you have a brand voice, so let's say you're a business with a document, you can go ahead and add that. We can also generate brand voice for you, which is pretty cool. So you can go in and when you create a brand voice, you can either add a custom one, you just paste in the material you have, or you can clone one from a source. So you literally go in and you pick something from your library, and then you click clone brand voice, and you get something that looks like this, which is super cool because it's modeled after high quality brand voice documents. And then from this, anytime you run a content generation, we apply these rules into that remix. So you can have multiple brand voices, which is really cool as well, because we know some people like to communicate one way on social and another way in long form. So we give you that option. And again, anytime you go in and create a new remix, that voice is just automatically applied. The last thing I'll show before I kind of dive into some of the remixes is just the template gallery, which we just added, which is exciting. So this is MVP. We will add a lot more here, which is really cool. But I'll like pick one example here, which is kind of fun, which is the high converting sales page. So this is actually modeled on a framework specific. A lot of research went into it around how to produce the different beats that get you to copy editing on a high performing sales page for any kind of product or offering. And so you can literally turn anything into this. I've run a few random examples where I'll take a blog post or something and for something that's completely not a product, and I'll run it through the high converting sales page just to see what happens, which is kind of fun. But adding a template to your library is literally just clicking add to templates, or here's one that I haven't added, the comprehensive guide. I can either add it from here, I can click it down here, I'll just click add, and you can see I've added it. I can click view template, it'll take me into my templates, and here's the template that I've added. So it's super exciting. It's really straightforward. Again, like once you're set up, you really only have to live on this page. And it's what do you want to create and what do you want to create from? It makes it really simple. Remixes are where we actually drop the content that we generate. I think I might have done a high converting sales page from your AI memory podcast, which I thought was kind of funny. So it's starting to sell AI memory boosts, and it pulls directly from from your conversation. And I've got another example here. Let's see, like ebook lead magnet is a fun one. This is like quite a bit of content for an 8-minute video to go ahead and produce.
Oh, it's amazing.
And when it doesn't have information, it has like blank spaces for you to fill it out, because maybe you didn't say your name at the beginning of this episode, so it didn't grab that. But again, and this is framed like a book. It's pulled out some quotes that you can go through and edit and copy edit. And again, like this is if you just click a button and get something like this as a baseline, this is hugely valuable as a starting point, because to your, what you mentioned originally, like writer's block is such a problem.
Huge.
And you might, you can even experiment, right? Like here's one that we've recently added, which is again, this is based on a framework of a webinar sales script of like how to structure a 75-minute webinar. And again, this is kind of based on your 8-minute long video, and it gives you like breakdowns of what you should focus on and what you cover, and things that you can dig further into, and then how you kind of close people on buying into your broader product or service, which again, not relevant for your specific use case, but just an example of how you can go from one completely unrelated piece of material into a sales script or some other like value point that might be useful for you. Here's, key quotes pulled out from that podcast, which, again, this is all just, if you want to easily go and reference like what are some key quotes organized by topic, being able to click a button and have those generated so that you can go use them however you want is just a time saver.
Such a huge time saver. And like you said, the click of a button, you can write a book based on all of this content you've created. You can the one that really blew my mind was the webinar series, because webinars is something that I've been really thinking about a lot, because of my relative comfort in the video territory and being on camera versus sitting in front of a blank page and all that. So, wow, 75 minutes of content right there for someone like me. It would probably take me weeks to write a 75-minute webinar. So, just like I said, loaded with the potential aha moments that I think are so key to people's AI sentiment and stuff like that.
There's one more thing I think would be really interesting for people. And what that is the idea of you can go one to many or many to one, which is kind of like a mind blown thing for a lot of folks. But sure. I've got a couple things in my library here. And you can see if I check, these are just a couple blog posts. I have the option to combine sources. And what that means is I can actually go and, let's say it's, video transcriptions or podcast episodes or blogs, whatever. I can say, I want to take these 5 episodes or these 10 episodes and turn them into that webinar, right? Suddenly you get a much richer corpus of knowledge to turn into that asset, which is hugely valuable. So you can say, oh yeah, like these 5 pieces of content are all related. I want to turn that into something of a hero asset. You can also then select multiple assets and generate for those. So if I don't select combined sources and I go ahead and check all these boxes, I'm going to generate 24 things, one of these for each source. So it's just, you can go from 0 to like a really strong foundation in literally 2 clicks, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible, incredible. Thank you so much for giving us the definitive tour around the tool. I, for one, cannot wait to get into it. I'm literally going to be diving into it the moment we get off of the camera, for sure, especially the template gallery. That I was already clicking around in that earlier, like I said. So, Jack, again, thank you so much for being on the show with us. Obviously, everybody check out tryastral.com. That's where you can find that tool. Jack, if anybody wants to follow you or reach out to you, where can they find you out there in the digital world?
I'm generally at Jack Bogdan on everything. I was early enough to just try and grab it everywhere. So it's pretty easy to find me. You can also, if you want to email me, I'm just jack@tryastral.com. And again, if you want to get started, we tried to be as transparent as possible with what we've set up. So no credit card required. You can literally go to tryastral.com, sign up for free. The only limitation is just the amount of remixes you can do. And then, once you're reaching your limit, you just have to upgrade because you're actually using the tool, hopefully, and really want to keep using it. So, we just wanted to make it easy for people to get started and actually try it, and really experiment with it as well. Like get their brand voices set up, create some custom templates if they want to. So yeah, tryastral.com, super straightforward. You can just click sign up, and I'm really excited to see what people create.
Awesome. Thank you. Navigators, if you have not tried Astral yet, what are you waiting for? If you're not a content creator, it can turn you into one. And if you are, it is definitely going to be one of your best friends as far as AI tools go. Jack, thank you so much again, and best of luck with Astral. We are certainly fans here, and we'll be using it heavily on the AI Marketing Navigator.
Thank you so much for having me. And I hope your audience gets a lot of value out of it.
I know that they will. Great. Thanks. Bye, Jack.
Bye.
Okay, again, huge thank you to Jack. I really enjoyed sitting down and talking with him and getting deeper into Astral, and I hope all of you navigators did too. So if you enjoyed the show or found it useful in any way, please do me a favor and follow on Spotify or subscribe on your podcast platform of choice. A review on top of that would be even more appreciated. It is by far the most helpful thing you could do for the show. Also, if you are watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications so you get notified every day when our episode drops. Until then, and as always, thank you for joining me, and remember to stay curious, stay consistent, and keep navigating forward. Bye.